The blessings that God gives and that you don't expect. One of the things that does end up happening with people is we have what we are in pursuit of. God sneaks up and provides us the blessings that we didn't think we were going to end up getting. I understand that there's things that we believe that we need, that we work for, that we seek to attain, that we understand the value of. But I really want to encourage those who are walking with the Lord to understand that as you are in pursuit of what you believe that you really need, and in many cases, what we are pursuing is not a bad thing to pursue in any way, shape, or form. Be aware that God may end up being interested in giving you that which you did not expect. I have watched people who have very full and very dynamic families, and they have been in a position where their family has been what their relational center circles around. And sometimes that appears to be enough for a season or a time or for a fairly long period. But sometimes also what ends up happening is I have seen as clergy, and I have seen as someone who leads a worship community, that people who have made their entire world revolve around their family get to a place where God, in a fashion that I would call almost sneaky and devious, God introduces them to people that they start to pray with, or that they do some events with, or that they meet in other ways. And then they discover that what they were in need of is they were in need of friendship. They were in need of people who were spiritually moving forward as they were spiritually moving forward. They were in need of people who had common family experiences such that they could pray for each other, they could care for each other, they could go deep with each other, they could have relationship. And nothing warms my heart more than seeing how a congregation and a community can introduce people who seem disparate, who seem different, who seem to not have a whole lot in common with each other, and then for them to unlock the truth and to spin and turn things in a fashion like you might with a Rubik's Cube, and for them to start to match the color on one side, then another, and start to solve the cube in a fashion where they take a look around and they go, I have relationships. I have brothers and sisters in the Lord. I have people who support me. I don't have to end up hiding what is concerning in the interior of my character. I don't have to put on a face that doesn't match the heart. I can legitimately be myself. I can have community. I can have people who support me. I can have people who love me. I can have people I can share what's going on with me. And I have people that I can listen to and accept them sharing what's going on with them. And we can move forward in things. This is totally wonderful. This is just the best. And this is something that in many cases people didn't think that they needed. They knew they needed work. They knew that they needed finance. They knew they needed shelter or roof over their head. They knew they needed a variety of other things. But all of a sudden, they find out that God has provided them with things that they weren't necessarily pursuing. But once they have it, once they recognize it, once they realize it, once they give themselves over to it, they come to a place where they understand that God was working all along to do good for them, even in places where they didn't think they needed it. Shalom.